Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is another episode of the world famous, most favorite podcast in the world, Keeping It Rio. This is episode 151. And today I have got a very special guest in the house, a 16-year-old CEO, ladies and gentlemen, a guy who is already on his way to fame and fortune and all the great things in life at the very, very, very young age of 16. I remember when I was 16, I was flipping hamburgers. So this is going to be a different dynamic altogether. But, ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming our guest today, Mr. Asher Dahlgren. Asher, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me on, Chuck. I'm super happy. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. I'm about to interview a 16-year-old CEO, which I don't think I've done that before. So, definitely looking forward to it. And I thank you so much for taking the time to be here. So, let's jump right in, Asher. You have got your own business. You've got yourself going here, and you're already making a big impression on the world. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into how you ventured into business and where you plan on going with it.
Yeah, man. So my story, I guess, I started my company in late 2022, Dahlgren Social. We're a social media agency, and small businesses come to us to delegate their marketing and social media needs, right? So we work with a lot of local brick and mortar businesses, a lot of service-based businesses, a lot of real estate agents, just to market their brand and to get them more eyeballs and more traffic through social media. And I knew that I always gravitated towards digital marketing. I was always good at it. And I started a business out of it. And now we have about 8 clients to date. And I have a team of some contractors that work for us. So, yeah.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about how you discovered your entrepreneurial spirit at such a young age to have a company that you've already gotten a team built and you're already working with multiple clients is amazing. How did you discover that this was in you and this was something that you wanted to do at this stage in your life and then, moving forward as well?
Yeah, and I think anybody can be an entrepreneur, but there are some people that are almost like they're just born for it, right? They're born to take risks, they're born to try new things, and I feel like I've always had that in me. I've always wanted to sort of go against the grain, and when I was 14, just 2, 3 years ago, I was bussing tables, and I was like, I want to find something that I'm going to enjoy doing that might not be traditional, but I just want to do it anyways. And so I really found my calling by helping other entrepreneurs. And while what we do is social media, you know, I like to I like to think more about my motivation. And my motivation is just to work with and help other local business owners and any business owners. So I really enjoy working with other entrepreneurs, and we get along well because, well, I'm a natural born entrepreneur myself.
Man, that's awesome. So let me ask you this. What types of clients are you currently working with your company? And how are you helping them grow their brand through social media? What are some of the things that you do when you reach out or when a client reaches out to you to see that you're a good fit? And then how do you go about figuring out what the best plan of attack is to help them?
Yeah, so to walk you through that, we work with some brick and mortar businesses, real estate agents and real estate teams, some service-based businesses. I really like to be custom tailored to what my clients' needs are, right? Because I think a lot of like big companies, they say, here's what we offer, and you're gonna have to take it all, and we're gonna charge you a bunch for it. I really like it to be custom tailored to the client. So I like to break down my services into three parts. The first piece is the content creation piece, right? Creating content that resonates with the client's brand's audience, that draws in traffic, draws in eyeballs, and pulls those eyeballs down, the sales funnel. Turn that attention into people that are engaged, people that are loyal to the brand through the content that we create. We also like to interact with our clients' followers, so that community management is that second piece. And then lastly, a lot of data and analytics we use to improve our clients' social media presence down the road. We look at what pieces of content are working, what's not, what we should change or include or omit. And we really look at that data and see who should we be targeting, how should we be targeting them, how can we create better posts for our clients. So that's pretty much the in a nutshell of everything that we do.
I like it, man. And I do a lot of social media with my roofing company. Roofing is an industry that is super social media friendly. So many people do things like this
Yeah.
podcast, or, I made a couple videos from a rooftop inspection earlier today, and we just try to get yourself out there and differentiate. So when you approach these clients, you've got some local, like you said, real estate agents and local things like that, and you want to formulate that strategy. You figure out, okay, this is going to be the best plan of attack. How in depth do you go with your search as far as that goes? Like, let's say that you're working with a realtor. We'll just use that as an example. And your realtor says, "Hey, Asher, my average client, or my dream client, is between the age of 28 and 45. They make $240,000. They drive a black car. They want to have a 2-story home, and I need you to help me go find these people." What kind of steps do you take to narrow those things down, to target your people that you actually want to find that can convert into the actual sales for you? What's the process look like when you're trying to locate your ideal clients for your clients?
Yeah, so this is very much on the strategy end, and the strategy that I take, um, my approach to targeting the right audience, and I love it when my clients already have like an audience in mind because some of these smaller local businesses that I work with, they don't even know their target audience, and so we have to sort of work through that with them. But once that is concrete, we look at what platforms are these people on, right? And the great thing about social media is there's so much data that shows you where your audience is at. And unlike other forms of advertising, like, you know, a billboard or, being in the newspaper, right? People's eyeballs are on social media all the time, many hours a day, and you want to advertise where their eyeballs are at, right? And so we look at where is your target audience on mostly. They're on social media, but what platforms, right? For example, with a lot of real estate agents, maybe, like you said, they're targeting middle-aged people that maybe are looking to move, whatever. And maybe Facebook's a good platform for them. There's a lot of middle-aged people on Facebook. Maybe you want to get into some of those local Facebook groups and post community happenings, be that sort of community newspaper, right? These are just ideas. But we really look at where is the target audience on, how can we best custom tailor the post for those platforms, and how can we really get in deep with the community, because a lot of our clients, we like to take a very localized approach and target local community members. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into it, but the bottom line is, where is your target audience at? Create posts tailored to that.
Yep, it's really that simple. Too many people overthink this stuff, and they put themselves in a weird spot where they spend a ton of money and don't get the results. And I think if you just take a second and think about it and realize, okay, these are the people I want to find. These are the ways that I'm going to find them. It's really not that hard. When you do your content creation, do you do are you primarily video? Are you text? Are you a combination of multiple not platforms, but multiple types of media that you do? What does the majority
Formats.
of your content look like as far as that goes?
Yeah, all sorts of formats. I'm a huge fan of video content, though. Short form video content is what is going to reach the most people, right?
Yep.
You might reach, I don't know, 100 people with a static post, but with a short video, 30 to 60 seconds, you can reach thousands of people just from that one video without many followers, right? So I'm a huge fan of short form reels. That's what's going to do the best. But really, we like to tailor the format of content with what the content actually is, right? So if it's something that's like educational or providing value, if it's a real estate agent and we decide to make a post about how to prep your home before a sale, right? that would be good in that short form reel video format. Now, if it's a post like, um, check out this open house, we might just take pictures and put that on a carousel and post that. So it really depends, what is the type of content that's being posted, and make the format based off of that, if that makes sense.
It certainly does. And that's perfect explanation of how you create your content and the types that you do. Let me ask this, okay? You're working with local small businesses, and obviously, I mean, the elephant in the room has got to be the fact that you're 16 years old, right? You're walking into a lot of places where you're going to have, people that are 3 or 4 times your age. And do you ever have a situation where you present yourself or someone reaches out and then they say, well, what could you possibly know that I don't know already? I'm 50 years old and I've been around since before the internet and all that. Is that something you've had to deal with, or do people really just kind of look at it and say, hey, man, this guy's from the digital age. He probably knows way more about this than we do. And they just accept the fact that, you're such a young person, but you've got your stuff together and you've got a business. Has that been anything that's impeded your progress in any way so far?
Yeah, definitely not impeded my progress. But yeah, there are certainly those types of people. There's both the types that you described. There's people that, you know, see it as a strength, and people that see it as a weakness. But I don't blame the people that say, "Oh, he's young. He probably doesn't have much experience," because yeah, I mean, after all, I am 16. Need to think more specific, right? I'm not doing general, business operations. Like, I do social media, right? And not older people don't have more experience in social media than younger people, right? Social media is a new thing, and us, the younger generation, we're on it all the time. We know the trends. We know best how the algorithm works. We know how all of this stuff operates, and so, I think that being a young person is really a strength instead of a weakness. I don't blame people or think people are bad if they see, oh, he's young, he's only 16. Like, I don't blame or judge that skepticism. Um, but I try to explain to people, hey, this is what we're good at, and this is a strength because I'm young. So that's the approach that I
I
try to
like
take.
that, and I agree with you 100%. I saw that, and instantly I wanted to talk to you on the show because I thought, man, that's just a completely different perspective. And we know what we know, but we don't know what you know. And I can't go back in time and learn all that stuff. So I think there's a huge opportunity for you in a lot of different industries where you can just utilize the fact that you know more about this than we do. And I think the fact that you're starting so young is amazing. You're going to have a tremendous future with this. So let me do one thing real quick, Asher, if it's cool with you. I have a sponsor that is the absolute best in the industry, and I'm in the roofing industry. My sponsor is called roofer.com. And Roofer, they have sponsored my podcast for the last 2 years. They
Mhm.
basically are an all you need for your roofing project, from your initial contact with your client to the final payment. And I have a 20-second ad that I'd like to share real quick, if it's okay with you. And when we come back from this 20-second break, we're going to talk about what you're going to do in the future. Is that cool? All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Cool.
this is the debut for my 20-second ad for Roofer. This is the new one for the year. So here you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, roofer.com. We love it. So that was cool. I love where we're going with this conversation. And I wanted to kind of look a little bit more into the future. When I talk to guests, I always like to ask them, how you got your start. And I do want to ask you this, as far as actually getting clientele, what is your method? Do you go out and cold call? Do people come looking for you? Is it basically word of mouth? How have you gotten the 8 clients that you've gotten to this point? And you know, what kind of results are they seeing from you? And they're all happy, I can assume, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to answer the first part of that question and rewind back. I remember back in early 2023 when I really started like making it an agency, right? I was cold knocking on the doors of businesses, just going down the street of Chestnut Hill, Springfield Township, the areas that I live in, and probably like dozens of rejections. I don't know how many, but I was like a mess the first few times. I totally did not know how to pitch my business. I didn't know sales at all. And I'm grateful for all that I've learned in the past. It was like just a year learning so much sales and how to talk to business owners because when I first started out, I just didn't know how to do it. I was 15 years old. Um, so I think from those rejections, from those no's, from that fear that I just really pushed through, I learned so much in such a short amount of time. Where now I'm so good at um, you know talking to business owners and understanding their needs and collaborating with them. Um, so I think because of that, I'm really good at doing outreach now. And I think most of my clients probably now just came from networking, getting to know people. I'm the type of person that I just try and shake as many hands as possible. I love getting to know people and talking with people. So I'd say that's the number one way. Um, Also, social media, leveraging my own profiles, social media groups. A lot of local businesses have discovered me through Facebook groups and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say networking, social media. I'm also looking to expand my clientele further, so I'm going to explore some other acquisition channels. But
I
those are
like
the
it,
main two.
and that's how you start. You do grassroots, you go out, you get beat up a few times, you start learning as you go. And I think that's the most respectable way to build a business, honestly. You take
Yep.
your lumps and I love what you just said. To me, it's funny because I'm 44 years old, and it's like, well, yeah, I learned this in a year, and I can't wait to see what you look like 5 years from now because the education that you got in that first year is setting you up for long-term success. And I guess that the next avenue I want to journey down here with you is, what does this look like for you in the future? Is this something that you plan on maintaining for, the duration of your career? Is it something that you think maybe, hey, I've got like a 5 year shelf life on it and then I'm going to move on to something else? What other goals do you have in life besides what you're doing? And what does it look like for you, 5, 10, 20, 40 years down the road? I can say that because you're going to be around in 40 years, hopefully, if everything goes well. So, what's it look like for Asher as we continue to evolve?
Yeah, so I'm all about just looking at the next step ahead of you and not planning too much. But of course, I have direction. I have a general idea of where I want to go. I don't have it all planned out, but really, I do want to go into real estate ultimately, and that's why I'm trying to work with so many realtors now, so that way I can do what I'm best at, social media for them, while learning about the industry. So, hey, if there's any realtors listening, you can reach out to me. But real estate, 100%. And I love getting in front of people and talking with people. Public speaking is definitely going to be something in my career. Talking with high schoolers, talking with college students about how to be an entrepreneur, and just sort of passing on the lessons and values that I learned at my age. And then hopefully in 10 years, I can pass on those lessons to
And
other
that's
young people.
terrific.
So
And I,
those are
I
a
can
couple of
definitely
my
see public
visions for the
speaking in your
future.
future. You're very well spoken and you've got a great head on your shoulders. You know exactly what you're doing. Like I said, when I was 16, I was flipping hamburgers, and back in the day, I was making I think $5 an hour. So you've done quite well for yourself for being, so young and finding something that you could excel at where other people probably could use your help. And I think that's pretty damn commendable. Forgive my language, but it really truly is. And I'd like to ask you this. The question that I always love to ask is, I'm in the roofing industry. Like I said, there are so many different roofing companies in the United States and the world. I don't even know how many thousands upon thousands. And I've got several friends that do marketing and roofing, and they're very successful. I think that's something that you should probably maybe look at as a potential opportunity for your own company because there's a ton of opportunity there. But let's
Hmm.
say that someone's watching this. I do have realtors. I'm actually going to be on a podcast tomorrow for a local realtor, and I had one on my podcast a couple weeks ago. So that's something I always try to look toward as well. Let's say that they're watching this and they're here in San Antonio, Texas, or they're in Phoenix, Arizona, or Minneapolis, wherever, and they want to see if you can help grow their business. Number one, is that something you would give consideration to? I know you just told me that you're focused a lot on the local markets, and I really appreciate that because you can be hands on and personable and give that white glove feel.
Hmm.
But let's say that you get a good opportunity somewhere else in the country. Is that something you'd be open to considering? And if so, now's a good shot to pitch it because this is going to go out to a lot of people that could possibly utilize your services. And I think that also think like I do that someone 16 probably is the best answer for what we need to do. So, if it's something you would be interested in, how would people do it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say um, a slight majority of my clients are local, but that doesn't mean that I don't work with other people and other businesses outside. I want to work with are, like we said, real estate agents, but really any like small business, because I think that there's something that's so special about small businesses and other entrepreneurs. Like I said, I get along so well with other entrepreneurs because we can really relate. The day-to-day of an entrepreneur is, it there's a commonality amongst all of them, right? And so I love supporting other small businesses and entrepreneurs. And to your point, a lot of viewers around your area in the service-based business, doing roofing and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of businesses that believe that, oh, we don't have to do social media. That's not how we market. We just do 100% word of mouth. And I can tell you that 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10 businesses should be on social media. The amount of potential leads that I see in Facebook groups, potential partners that I see on LinkedIn, just for any B2C or B2B business, social media is so valuable. I mean, there's such a wealth of leads and prospective customers on social media, and it's really a fantastic long-term way to build your brand. And in terms of the success that we've had with clients, just the other day, this local bagel shop that we work with, we announced their 30th anniversary, and I think I've been working with her for about a few months now, and it was just really special to do that, and it felt like really fulfilling being able to celebrate her 30th anniversary with her and make a post about that, and that got like 500 likes on Facebook. Like, it was fantastic. Business I love to work with, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in, social media can be used
Yeah, there you
tremendously
go.
to
So
your
anybody that's
advantage.
watching this, I definitely recommend giving this young man a call because I think he's gonna get you going in the right direction. So let me ask you for a little bit of professional advice. I've got the roofing company and I do my own, I've obviously got this podcast. I do my own social media stuff, and I feel like I'm pretty good. But I guarantee I could be doing a lot of things differently. Um, if you were a business owner, a roofing company owner per se, like myself, and you're wanting to reach as many people as possible, what are some of the tricks, I guess you could say, or little tips? I know that you said the short form video is your favorite, and that's mine as well. I put those out all the time. But is there any sort of strategy behind maximizing your visibility? Is there certain times of the day that are better to post? Is there certain lengths? Is there certain times that you should stay away from, or maybe, posting too many in succession? What are some of the little tips that you can give to a guy that's just trying to get started and try to build a following? And then,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm going to hire you after I get going a little bit. But to get to that point, what are some of the things that you recommend to small businesses to do?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna gatekeep. You invited me on your podcast, Chuck. I'll do a little strategy session with you. So I
I
saw
do.
that you use this thing called Opus Clip, right? That's fantastic. Great way to repurpose long form videos into short form. I think that starting with long form, and let's say you're in the I don't know, you're a general contractor. I'm trying to use an example of a business similar to yours. You're a general contractor and you're doing a project. You can capture a long form video of, that project. Maybe you interview some of your clients. Maybe you film some of your team members working for you. So capture like a long form video, break that up into short form clips, put the long form on YouTube, the short form on all the other social media platforms. You can even do more repurposing, turn some of that stuff into a blog, like summarize the conversation within the long form. I mean, there's so much that you can do to get in front of people in so many ways. Um, but I think the key is to stay consistent, and that's very difficult for business owners because if you want if you want the algorithms of social media platforms to like you want to show up maybe not even every single day, but 3 times a week consistently, 2 times a week consistently, 4 times a week consistently, but stay consistent. And in terms of like little fun tricks that I like to use with my clients, I always find that it's really effective posting just a couple minutes after the hour because every other person posts right on the hour. And although posts aren't completely categorized based on how long ago that they were posted, if you post a little bit after the hour, it will show just a little bit higher on someone's feed. So tricks like that, tricks like using the right hashtags, right? Use hashtags that aren't too broad, aren't too specific, and that's another thing we do with our clients. We get specific hashtags that are tailored to their brand, and really, there's a lot of tricks in the book. We pile them all together, and they compound on each other, and that's how we see success
Yeah,
for
that
our
was
clients.
awesome. And
But
I'm going to
hopefully,
start
that's some
posting a
interesting
couple minutes
strategy
after
for
the
you.
hour now. I never thought about it like that, but you're spot on. So kudos to you, my friend. You've got it going on. You've got it figured out. I have one more question and then we'll kind of wind it down. You mentioned that as you start growing your organization, you find the need to start bringing people into your team. You've got a couple people on your team already, correct? So how does that work? How do
Yep.
you go about finding people,
Yep.
and how many people do you ultimately want to
Yeah.
have
So
on your team?
we Yeah, absolutely. So right now, I think I have about 4 people. What I like to do is I like to find the people. Um, Now, usually, I'm not saying that I'm like the best for my age or whatever, but sometimes it is difficult to find really cutting edge talent, amongst my age group. So sometimes I do take on people that are in college or a bit older than me. But I like to find the people that are best at one thing. So the best graphic designer, the best video editor, right? I like to find people um, that are going to ultimately want to pursue a career in whatever I'm having them do, right? Because, I'm not hiring someone that's triple my age that has, years of experience. I usually hire people on like a contract basis, sort of like freelancers, right? And I like to specifically delegate the tasks of, like I said, there's graphic design, there's, editing those short form videos. I like to delegate those tasks out, and that way, that saves me time. So that way, I can focus more on the strategy for my clients, and my contractors can focus more on, creating quality of work and the actual content itself. And
There
that
you
way,
go.
my
Always
business
thinking of
can
the
scale
clients
and
and
I
always
keep
putting
costs
them
low for
first is going to
clients.
get you a long way in this business. And I can't say enough, Asher, how much I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with me, for keeping it Rio. I got to admit, all day I've been thinking, okay, is this going to be a good conversation? Is there going to be too much of an age gap? Is it going to be weird? I think this has been absolutely amazing. And I've really thoroughly enjoyed gaining some knowledge from you. I appreciate the fact that you're willing to come on here and share that knowledge. And if this episode can just get you one client, then it was so, so cool for me, because that's what I want to try to do. I like what you're doing. I like the way that you think, and I definitely respect your work ethic. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a guest on episode 151 of Keeping It Rio. I just had a milestone last week, and I start my next 150 with a great guest today. So thank you for your time, Asher. One last time before we go,
Yeah.
if anybody wants to follow you on social media or they want to look a little bit further into you, what is the best way to just get a little bit more information about you?
Yeah, so I'm on everything. LinkedIn's great though. You can look me up, Asher Dahlgren. Also check out my website, dahlgrensocial.com. I'll spell that out for you. DAHLGREN social.com. You can learn all about my business there, and
Yeah,
I'd love to
absolutely, my
hear
friend.
from
We'll do
you.
this again sometime in the
And
future
yeah,
when
thanks for having me on, Chuck.
you've got multi-million-dollar accounts all over the place, and I'm going to come back and say, hey man, remember when you were just getting started and you were on my podcast? And you'll forget me by then, but I will look forward to following your career as you go and just seeing how you progress, my friend. I sincerely appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody for watching. I thank you again to my sponsor, roofer.com, for everything that you guys do for me, for all the people that watch Keeping It Rio, that share it, that subscribe to the YouTube, that tell their friends about it, the people that I just randomly see in public sometimes that say that they watch the show and they like it. I appreciate you guys very much. That's the reason why I do it. I love talking to new people. We just met here a couple minutes ago, and as long as I can continue to do it and nobody wants me thrown off the air, I'm going to keep doing it. So thank you guys. And until the next episode, I always end with the most corny tagline in the history of podcasts, which is keep on keeping it Rio. Later on, everybody.